Okay, I'm going to show you how to do your note cards for your research and give you a little bit of information as to how many you need. What you're going to need first is you're going to need to open your Google Slides that has your research paper note cards, and you're going to need to have a copy of your outline. You can print this off, or you can just have a new tab open for it like I do. In addition to that, you're going to want all of your sources that you are going to use for your research. So I have a couple of tabs open with some internet articles and newspaper articles that I'm going to use. You also have a book source that you need to use. Obviously, you won't be able to see that on my computer screen. So, what do you do first? When you open up your note cards on Google Slides, the first thing you want to do is add in the title of your research paper, which you should have done on your outline. Remember that your title needs to be a summary of your thesis. So here my title says Prince in Control of His Own Destiny, because my thesis is about how he fought for control over his own music and about how he had control over his own fashion choices. So I'm going to go ahead and add that title in here and just make sure that it's big enough. Since it's a title, I'll make it a larger font. And the note cards you can just leave as is. Now, I gave you a couple of slides as examples, but I'm going to show you what you need to do first. What I would do first is I would make a note card for each topic header that you have on your outline. So your topic headers include part A in your introduction and each of your body paragraphs. For each of your headers, you're going to have a set number of note cards that you'll be responsible for. Your introduction won't have as many, so we'll just say you need 3 of those. And for each of your body paragraphs, you're going to need at least 5. For a total of 18 note cards. If you have more than that, that's okay. You just don't want less than that. So I'm going to start with my first header, which is Prince's Childhood and Career. And I'm going to make that this first note card. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background color so that I can make every note card that's about Prince's childhood and career the same color. And I like blue, so let's make it blue. Now, since I need at least 3 of these note cards, I'm just going to go ahead and copy the same note card 2 more times. So you can do that by clicking on the display of your note card and have it outlined in blue. And then just do your copy and paste buttons. Mine's Command C, Command V, and it'll make an exact copy of the note card. I'll do it one more time. So all of these, you know, are going to be about Prince's childhood and career. You're going to need to make another note card that you can edit for your second section on your outline, which is his fight for musical rights. So I'm going to change this one to his fight for musical rights. And again, I'm going to change the background color so that all of my note cards on the fight for musical rights will be the same color. There I go. Again, I'm going to go through the process of copying and pasting. Since I need 5 of them, I'll copy it 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now I have all of my cards that I'm going to need for his fight for musical rights. Again, go through the same process. For the rest of these, you're going to need 5 for his fashion impact. Make sure you always change the color. and copy and paste. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 for his lasting legacy. Change the background. 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I can see, just double checking myself, that there are a total of 18 note cards. So I'll know that when I'm done filling all of these out, that I'll have my set number of note cards that I'm going to need. So the very next step is to pick out your very first source that you want to read through. And it can be any source that you want to start with. So I'm going to click on Prince's Fashion Evolution. And what I'm going to do as I'm reading this now is I'm going to keep in mind, as I'm reading it, to specifically look for notes in regard to these items. If there's anything about his childhood and career, anything about his musical rights, anything about his fashion impact, or his lasting legacy, so that I can take a note on it. So this particular article shows the different styles that he had from 1979 all the way through the late 2000s, or the early 2000s, all the way up to 2015. So if I wanted to, what I could do is I could summarize some of the outfits he wore from this article. So let's do that. Let's start with his 1981, where he's performing in a sleeveless tee, a bandana, thigh highs, and black underwear. So for this note card, I can either paraphrase or I can choose to provide a direct quotation. For this purpose, I'm going to paraphrase. So if I'm paraphrasing this information, I might describe this outfit with a sleeveless tee, a bandana, and thigh highs as risque. So let's look at some other outfits. In 1985, he's rocking a fierce two-piece suit decorated with swirls of raspberry and purple. So I might choose to call this colorful. So far we have outfits that were risque, outfits that were colorful. If I'm looking at some other ones, I might say that some of these outfits are feminine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this information that I've read in this article and I'm going to kind of paraphrase in my note card under fashion, because that's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to add my notes here. Prince's fashion choices evolved over time, ranging from risque and colorful to feminine, and we'll pick out one more. Feminine and tailored. And then that's one note of a paraphrase from that article. I'm going to make sure that I cite the article. I don't have my citations pulled up, but I'm going to always start with the author, which for this purpose is the Billboard staff. So I can just go ahead and use my citation at the bottom. Now keep in mind that when you're using a book, it'll be the author and the page number. And for any other article, if it has the author, you start with the author. If it does not have an author, you should start with the title, or whatever myself or Miss Jensen or whoever took the time to do this highlighted in your annotation page. So I'm going to just make sure that I put in the citation was from Billboard staff. And that's my first note card. Throughout the process, what you would do is you would read all of your sources, and any information that you see in your sources that relates to your main headers, you would add into the note cards. I'll just do one more if I wanted to do information about his music. I might go to, it's this one. Yeah, so it says Prince upended the music industry in a way that went well beyond his influential hits. He actually told USA Today in September, stop signing contracts. You don't belong to people. That's over with. That's a pretty powerful quote because it was directly from Prince himself, and it was given to a reliable source. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that and use it as a direct quote in one of my note cards. And this one was about his musical, Fight for Musical Rights, so I would put it in one of those note cards. I'm just going to edit it so that the font stays the same. Add it down here and then type it. Now, notice I'm using a quote within a quote, and that has to be cited a little bit different. Typically, you would just have quotations around it, but for this case, if you see, I have one quotation around what he actually said, and I ended again with one quotation. And again, I'm going to add the citation at the bottom, making sure that I start with the author if it has an author. And this was from a guy named Mike Snyder. So his last name is Snyder, which would go first. So I'm just going to put that as my citation, Snyder. So as you're reading your sources, you'll eventually fill out all of this information. Keep in mind that if you don't have enough information to fill the note cards, you may have to go back and find additional sources in order to get enough information for your paper. Once you are done completing all 18 note cards, you can go ahead and click submit, and if there are anything that you need to fix, I'll let you know. You also, just to note that you can have multiple sources for each topic. So I could find his Fight for Musical Rights by Snyder, and I could go to another source that might have different information about his Fight for Musical Rights that I could also add in. So it doesn't have to be from the same source. The purpose is to actually get information from a variety of sources. So I hope this helped. Let me know, email me, or talk to me in person during activity period or class if you have any questions. And I will close you out. Goodbye.